We heard today, as Jesus approached Jericho, a blind man was sitting by the roadside, begging and said, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" And he replied, "Lord, please let me see." And Jesus told him, "Have sight. Your faith has saved you." And he immediately received his sight and followed him, giving glory to God. When I read that passage, it brought me back many, many, many years ago when I was in the 9th grade. I was a student in Immaculata Seminary. For the sake of those who are younger, we had a seminary that day on Breaux Bridge Highway next to the Carmelite Monastery, 4 years of high school, 2 years of college. One of my classmates was Father Arsenault's brother, who now lives in California. And a couple of us were in the library, and we were looking at the encyclopedias and pulled out the encyclopedia C. And a couple of us were paging it. And we came to a section where they had a whole series of circles, each one different color, and in each one there was a letter, or rather there was a number, and they were different colors. And so I said, "Oh, look, there's the number 8. Oh, look, there's the number 3. And the one who was with me said, "There's no number 3 there." I said, "Yeah, it's 3. Look, take a look." He said, "I don't see a 3. That meant that he was colorblind. He could never see that color. And that grabbed my attention. Hearing is essential to being able to follow the Lord and learn His will. We hear about us hearing the Lord often in the Scriptures. In the liturgy of the church's liturgy begins in the invitatory, very, very early in the morning, and there's a reciting of the psalm. And a psalm that is frequently recited is Psalm 95, which says, "If today you hear His voice, harden not your hearts." Hearing the Lord's voice is essential throughout our pilgrimage of faith. And at no point can we say, "I have heard everything that the Lord has to say to me." In a similar way, the same thing is true as regards to our seeing. It is best to assume that there is something we don't see that we should see. You know, all prejudice leads to a blindness of not seeing something good in someone whom we despise because of their race, believing lies that are not true. Second World War. All of the Japanese citizens who in our country were put to slave camps lost all their property. Prejudice. They were all prejudged as being enemies of the state. Eventually, government got sued and they won. The history of African Americans in our country. Prejudice, prejudging, passing a judgment on someone when we don't really see them. We don't really know. We go by lies. And the lies lead to us doing injustice. Same thing is true for many others. Hispanics, or even our next door neighbor. There might be something about our next door neighbor that we just can't stand because we heard from someone else, or there's something about him, but we don't really know him. Maybe if we really knew him, it might explain why he does what he does, or he says what he says. And maybe even if we came to know him, we would see that he really is a good person. Our prejudice is based on what is basically a lie. What do you want me to do for you? Only if we acknowledge our blindness, like my classmates so many years ago, only if we acknowledge our blindness as regards to something or someone, Will we be able to say, Lord, please, let me see? Have we ever prayed that prayer? Lord, help me to see the goodness in this person. Lord, help me to see what is true. So during the next few moments of silence, let us ask ourselves, is there some way in which I am blind and seeing the truth? Ask the Lord to reveal that to you. Pray that a day will come that we will acknowledge that blindness, and our prayer will be, Lord, please let me see.